Miss Riley is out. I think he's back in his office. Yeah, thank you. Okay, before we get started, I want to say happy birthday to Miss Esquivel. So,
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I know I'm used to all of us being in one room and having the little board that has everybody's birthdays, and I am like awful this year about it. So, but it's okay. Happy birthday. We hope you have a wonderful day. Can everybody see my screen where it says Gus ELAR?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go through our agenda just very quickly. This is the one from last week. Let me fast forward because I want to keep them all on one. I should have just gone from the. There it is. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about self-care. We're going to go through some glows and grows. Then we're going to be looking at some data for Achieve 3000.
I have delivered all of Ms. Kennard's delicious treats.
Ms. Priestley's on the intercom. Give me a second.
In my head and not to my heart, but there are a few extra that are still here. So if you did not get yours, please come and see me in the front office. Ms. Kennard, thank you so much. And anyone who is interested, our own Ms. Madeline Gonzalez prepared the cupcakes. So for your baking needs, please see Ms. Gonzalez.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to be going over some Achieve 3000 data and then a little bit of our Wednesday reviews. And then the last thing we're going to do is do a follow-up from our EDGE meeting this morning, because I love doing our Friday PLCs after the EDGE meeting, because then it just kind of like we can just follow up on that. So I want you to kind of take a look at the pictures that are here. So I want you to think about some of the things that you are doing to practice self-care, because this year.
And my apologies were not just for teachers. She actually purchased one for every single staff member in the building. So if you are in the building and you did not get a cupcake, please come see me.
Sorry, she was on the intercom again. Okay, so I want you to look at the pictures and think about what are some things that you are doing to avoid burnout. So for me, I've made it a point to really stick to my workouts. My in-laws got us a treadmill for Christmas, and I absolutely love it, because when it's cold outside, I can just jump on the treadmill, and I'm really committed to it. So I think this year, you know, all of us are facing challenges that we've never faced before. So I want you to just kind of take a look at the pictures. Reading, gardening, maybe it's just going to the park with your kids, baking, maybe it's just Netflix, right? Or Amazon Prime, or whatever it is that you're streaming. And I want you to think for a bit. Okay, and then I want you to share out. Very quickly, just a couple of, maybe a minute or so. Anyone can go first. What are some things you are doing to avoid burnout?
Odie, I want to be really, really honest. I don't think that, I think I'm just so exhausted from like a day of work, and sometimes I'm working at home, and I don't really think that I'm doing self-care. Maybe sometimes I'll like watch the ID channel, but that's really it.
What do you think you should do about that?
God needs to create more hours in a day for me, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
think about what that does to you.
On it.
Yeah, definitely.
I really am working on it. So I do like stuff with the kids, my classes, you know, like during our WIN stuff. But so I do that. Like I participate in that stuff, you know, especially when the counselors were doing like the breathing and stuff like that. I do try, like sometimes I will do it in the morning before work, you know, like stretching or yoga or something. I think I do it often enough.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for that. Maybe that's something I need to work on with you, and we're going to work on a goal and get you committed to it. And that can just be something private, okay? Anyone else?
For me, it's the same thing. I do with work and school, because I am going to school to be a counselor. And then my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, so sometimes it's a little bit hard to find that time. I bought a treadmill, but I had to return the treadmill because there was a part that was broken. So I was very disappointed. And I do try. I go get my nails done. I mean, I do find that time, but sometimes, like during the week, it's just impossible for me to work out. It's impossible for me to. I don't watch TV. Like if I do watch TV, maybe on Saturdays or Sundays, but I'm usually just doing work stuff, school stuff, or just taking care of my daughter. So it's sometimes it's hard to find that time for ourselves.
I completely understand, and Annalise can be a handful, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is something I wanted to bring this up because I know this is something that we are working on with our Ed Connective coach, because we get coached too, right? So I hadn't really thought about it. You all know me, like I work all the time. And so if I didn't make a conscious effort, you know, especially this year, like it was just not going to happen. So I just wanted us to kind of pause before we start our meeting today and then just kind of think about this. And I think I want to check in with each one of you and just make sure that you are doing something that's going to help you to, you know, deal with the stress and the extra challenges that we are being faced with this year, because it is hard. I get it. Okay. And maybe this is something you can just kind of think about over the weekend, right? What can you do to avoid burnout? Okay, so I want to give us some glows and some grows for this week. And again, this is just from this past week. So one glow that I noticed for all of us as a team is that we are seeing an increase in Lexiles and in students that are at the reading level. And I know last week we looked at Achieve 3000 data, and I'm going to show you the data right now, but we talked about the number of students that are on target, right, at reading at the MEETS level. So this week I printed out the reports, and we are seeing an increase in that, so that is awesome. I think our grow comes directly from our EDGE meetings. I think there are still students that are not always able to articulate what they are learning. And so, and I know this is something that Mr. Blandon, Ms. Prezi, and Mr. Medrano are looking for when they go in your classrooms. And I'm not saying it's every kid, right? I just ask random students down the hallway or in the cafeteria, hey, what did you learn in reading today? And so I'm getting everything from very specific answers, like we worked on SEER and we were writing a thesis statement, you know, or we learned whatever it is, right? And then I'm getting other kids who are saying, we worked on 3.6, you know, in Springboard. And I'm like, but what was 3.6 about? Like, what was the lesson? They're like, we were answering questions, you know, so that's something where I think, you know, we really need to focus on articulating the learning objective to students. And I think this is where what we're going to do today, as far as like scripting our think alouds, might really help us. So I want to get into some data. So I want to point your attention to a couple of things here. First of all, on top where it says students scoring 75% or higher on the first try, 76.8%. And this is data from December through February. I believe I did the filter that way. But if you look at the next one where it says students on track, I'm sorry, so we are doing pretty well with that, right? A lot of our students are actually scoring 75% or higher on the first try. Where it says CCR, students on track, that is the percentage of students that are on grade level for reading, 9.4. It seems very low, and it is very different by grade level. If you look at the next one though, this was our initial one. So down here where it says students on track initial, that was 6.6%. So we have seen an increase. Overall, we're seeing about 25 points in Lexile growth. So that is very, very good. Let me show you the next slide because I think the next slide really shows it. So this is by grade level. I'm showing you the number of students, the first column where it says like 7.6 for 6th grade, and I think it's 7.5 for 7th grade. That's the number, the percentage of students that are on track, that are reading on grade level. So at the beginning of the year, it doesn't let me do anything else on this slide, and I wanted to have these two together. So at the beginning of the year, I believe 6th and 7th grade, they were less than 6%, like 6% or less. So we are seeing some growth in 6th and 7th grade. And then for 8th grade, I believe that they started, I think it was like 7% at the beginning of the year. So we've also increased that 12.5% now. It's still low. Of course, we want to see more students reading on grade level, but I think for this year, you know, when, you know, being remote and having so few of our students on campus, it's definitely hard. The other column is the gain in Lexile from the previous period. So this is the students that actually had their Lexile adjusted. So this is the gains. So how many points, how many Lexile points. So this is where I'm very, very proud of us, because I think I honestly was not expecting us to show any growth this year. I'll be very honest with you. Like, it's just, it's hard, right? I mean, it's very difficult. But we're seeing growth, so that's great. So this will kind of show you from September to February, our increase. So look at that line. This is something that you all should be very, very proud of, because I know I've had conversations with all of you about how frustrated we get sometimes, right? With, you know, the number of our kids that are not engaging, the number of our kids that when they are engaging or they do the assignment, it's not always correct, and it's very difficult to go back and correct that. And then now we have the extra challenge of having the kids here and then the ones at home. And so this is definitely something you should be proud of. So hopefully it's a little bit of, you know, good news in this, you know, crazy world that we're seeing. Okay, our Wednesdays review and reteach. 6th grade is doing great. So I'm going to tell you right now, one of the things that I'm noticing is that the teachers are very close. Like, you all are planning together, and I can tell. So like, look at Ms. Ortega and Riley, right? The 6.5F, we worked on that February 1st through the 5th. And look at their percentage score, 61, 64%, right? Very close. This week, it was on summarizing and paraphrasing, and I am going to blame that 50% on the fact that Ms. Riley was not here on Wednesday and couldn't go over that, because I think when she's here, she definitely does a better job with the students. And I was not able to go over the review and reteach with the students, but she did post it. And so I think if she would have been here to kind of explain that, it would have definitely been higher. Okay, this is for writing. This week we worked on identifying and revising a thesis statement, and it's multiple choice questions, which is really hard. And the students have been doing it in their essay also. This is what they're learning in class. And I know the percentages seem low, but look at this. They're very close, right? Ms. Charleston Esquivel, it seems low, right? 37 and 33, but it's definitely an increase from the mini benchmark. So slow gains, right? I know I've had so many conversations with Ms. Charleston Esquivel this week, because teaching writing remotely is, you know, they're about to like pull their hair out. It's hard. But we definitely see, you know, a little bit of an increase. We did see a dip a little bit between the benchmark, and I don't know, some of the questions on the benchmark, I don't know exactly how they were being tested, but I think our kids are sort of getting it, I think, on not just the multiple choice questions, but also on the essay. And then lastly, 8th grade, we've been working, last week we worked on that inferencing TEAC 8.5F. So again, Ms. De Luna and Ms. Lara are very, very close. And then the same thing for this week, which is 8.7B. This is a hard one for kids. and that is the character, behavior, and motivations, and how they influence the plot and events in the story and the resolution of the conflict. Like, it's a very complicated TEAK, and most of the questions require some sort of inferencing. And so, again, I'm going to remind you that we selected these TEAKs because they were low on the mini benchmark. Historically, these are things that kids struggle with, and we know that, you know, sometimes they just need that extra, you know, practice, you know, reteach. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because I've been doing a lot of talking and I don't want to just do all of it. Okay, so give me your thoughts. What are you seeing? What are you thinking? What's working? What's not working? Anything that kind of comes to mind? All the data we just covered.
I guess I'll start. I think going back to what you had mentioned about really telling the kids, this is today's purpose, this is what we're doing, and then focusing on the I do, right? Like, I have really been like quizzing the kids, at least the ones that are here. Hey, so what did you learn today? And, you know, and it's like, I'm like, if someone walks in and they ask you, like, what are you doing? And I have those mixed answers, even though I'm very straightforward, and then there's other kids, well, they'll be like you said, like specific, like, well, we read this story or we read this, you know, text, but they're, you know, and it's, but I've been doing some exit tickets. I haven't been doing them like on Nearpod or on a form. It's just like I put them on the board and we, you know, go over them. So I'm not really have something that I guess I would be able to pull, you know, data from, but it's still, I think that is making a difference. But also, I mean, I know it's a challenge, especially when they're coming from just, even if they were here, it was totally asynchronous. So like, it's tough, but it's getting there, I guess. Even if it's for the few bodies that are in our room, I guess it's worthwhile.
Yes.
Just take more time.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Ms. Esquivel. Ms. Lara.
I was wondering, I had a question in reference to the reviews. So we do our reteach, make sure that, you know, we cover the TEAKs and stuff like that. Then they take their little mini assessment from you. I'm wondering, I know that it's all on forms, so the data goes to the teachers, but I'm wondering if there's another way where we can send them back their results to them instantly, as opposed to going each one by one student, because what I really miss is that metacognition time, that, okay, look, this was the right answer. Now go back and tell me where you went wrong. I need you to rethink. I need you to come up with the reason why my answer is correct and why yours was wrong. And it helped me a lot in every other year, and I'm missing that this year.
So I have to tell you that is the one thing I do not like about forms, because once the kid takes it, they can't go back to it. The teacher can see the results, but I completely get it. The kid can't really go back and like see, they don't go back to the form, right? Like they submit their answers and that's it. Very good question. So
for our kids, when they submitted it, it will tell them the correct answer. I really didn't, like, I just told them, I didn't go over it just because I know that there might be some kids at home or some kids that I'm going to see later. And I don't want to like straight out tell them, oh, well, don't share the answer, because then they will. But I told the kids, look, you know, this is your reteach. This is an opportunity to see where you're at. And then also, look, like, just take it, just try your best, like, give your effort and really think, really think about what you're going to choose. And if you got it wrong, well, you got it wrong, but you're going to be able to see what the correct answer is, because at least for us in the writing ones that you've done, they're able to see the correct answer. And then I go ahead and tell them, hey, so look at what you responded and look at what the correct answer is. Where is the difference? Like, why is that one a little better? Because even in that question that you had for this week, there were two choices that were solid, but one was way better. And I know the way it's worded is which one is the best. And sometimes there are kids that are like, they want to check with me and they send me a chat. Miss, I'm torn between A and B. I'm torn between B and C. And I'm like, okay, read it carefully. And then, you know what? You got it wrong. That's fine. But just go back and see why. And then they're like, oh, okay. Oh, and then they'll be like, I should have chosen that one. So I guess, you know, for those kids that really care, and I know, as you said, we really can do, we can only do so much, but I mean, but I don't know how it is with the other forms, but at least for us, they're getting that. They're not going to be able to like go back, which I get it too. Mm-hmm. It's just at that moment, they're able to see the result.
Yes. They can't see the results. It's correct, but I understand what Ms. Lara's saying. When we have them here, you know, and we can go over the results, of course, right? It's a lot easier. Let me look into that, because if we can think of another way of doing it where we can go back and review the answers with the kids, of course, you know. I have to tell you very quickly what happened to me this week, because I was subbing for Ms. Riley, and Ms. Ortega, did you use the Nearpod, the quiz for 11?
Yes.
She did. Okay, so I had a kid right before transition, 2 minutes before transition at 9:58. She's calling me on Teams, and she's asking me for help with Ms. Riley's assignment. And I had sent him a message, I'll be here, you know, if you need any help. And so throughout the day, right? And so I answered the call because I was like, I'm not gonna tell this kid no. So I asked someone else, like, can you please do my hallway, right? When we're doing transition. This kid wanted me to tell her if she had the right answer to every one of the questions, because she did not want to submit it on Nearpod unless she knew that every single answer was correct. And I told her, I can't give you the answers. Like, that's not okay. You know, like, I can help you with some of the concepts, you know, like, and she went through every single question, asked me, she was like, okay, so this question is asking me about external conflict, and I think I understand it. Is it this? And said, so I know definitely it's not A. And like, they went through the whole process of eliminating the answers. And so I tried my best to help the student out and get through all 10 questions without giving them the answers, right? And then finally she's like, okay, miss, okay, I think I did good. I'm gonna submit it. I said, okay, fine, you know? So she submits it, and then I run upstairs because I was gonna go and meet Miss Charles, and I was already late. So I'm like running upstairs, and right as I run upstairs, she sends me a message, all angry. She's going, miss, I got a 60. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, you know? Like, and then she says, can you open it up and go through it with me? And I was like, I don't have access to the Nearpod lesson, but Miss Riley does. And when she comes back, she can go over it with you, but she didn't share it with me. So I don't know, but that, at least I agree. There's some kids that want to know exactly why they got that question wrong. So let me look into that, and I am going to find out. I'm going to try as best as I can. Yes.
You should also mention that she wanted to express how she felt that the Nearpod quiz was wrong and not.
Yes, she did message me and said, I also have 2 other friends who got their answers and they think it's wrong. And I was like, oh my goodness, you know, okay. So I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. I said, you're gonna have to check with Miss Riley, like when she comes back, you know? Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen. I think I'm gonna go back to Teams. There you go.
But that goes to show that we're building democratic learners if they're able to defend and fight for their answers and perspectives.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and kids that care, you know, so that's a good thing. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of work today. This is a continuation of our EDGE meeting. And so we're going to be scripting a think aloud. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna have you do. You're gonna work independently for about 8 minutes. Okay, you're gonna select a learning standard. So you're gonna look at the task card and think about what you're teaching next week. And then you're going to think, what do students need to know conceptually to solve this problem or to go through the task, right? Like, what are the concepts, the nouns, the ideas, and then what are the procedures? What would they need to know how to do to complete the task? And so if you need help, like Ashley said this morning, you can always go to the TEKS resource system and look for the TEKS specificity. And then for that TEK, you're going to write a script for a think aloud. So when we do this, we have to put ourselves just like it's I, me, right, personal pronouns, and we have to put ourselves in the position of trying to visualize our thinking for our learners. And then what you're going to do is take a picture of it and you're going to post it to our Gus ELAR team. So if you write it out, right, some of you can do the little table like it is right here, the 2 columns, and then write it out. If you type it out, you can definitely just do a snippet, and then I would prefer it be a picture and just put it in our post, okay? And then once I see that everyone is done, then what we're gonna do is practice with a partner. I don't want you to be scared of it. I promise you it is not gonna be hard, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. Can I stop sharing the screen? I think everybody knows what they're supposed to do, right? Oh, you want me to share it again, De Luna? I can put it back right now. So as you are scripting, I'm going to put the timer for 8 minutes, and I'm just going to do it on my phone. And don't stress over this, okay? You can stay on the line, but you can turn your cameras off. Like, leave yourself on mute and turn the cameras off and just try your best to script one of the learning objectives for next week, okay? Like if you were doing a think aloud for the students, okay? I'm going to share the screen so that you can go back to it.